Football stadiums aren't just bricks, steel, and seats. They're theaters of passion. They hold history, heartbreak, and moments that live forever. And when a derby match comes around, these stadiums feel more alive than anywhere else on earth. Today we're looking at 20 of the most major football stadiums in the UK, each tied to its fiercest local derby. Let's dive in. 20. Manchester Derby. Located in Stretford, Greater Manchester, Old Trafford is the largest club stadium in the UK, with a capacity of around 74,140. The Manchester Derby transforms this ground into a furnace. Historically, United ruled the rivalry, but in the last decade, City's rise under Sheikh Mansour and Pep Guardiola has tilted the balance. After bombing damage in 1941, United actually played home games at Manchester City's main road for almost a decade. 19. Merseyside Derby. Anfield, in Liverpool, is one of the most famous stadiums in the world. Built in 1884, it was originally Everton's home before a rent dispute forced them out, leading to the birth of Liverpool FC in 1892. That twist of fate created the foundation of the Merseyside Derby, one of the most emotionally charged rivalries in English football. When Liverpool faces Everton here, it's more than football. 18. West London Derby. Stamford Bridge, in Fulham, London, holds around 40,343 seats. Built in 1877, it's one of the oldest continuously used stadiums in the UK. Chelsea took over in 1905 and turned it into their fortress. Its closeness to Fulham, both geographically and historically, makes the West London Derby especially sharp. Fulham's Craven Cottage is just a 15-minute walk away along the Thames. 17. North London Derby. The North London Derby against Tottenham Hotspur is one of the fiercest rivalries in world football. Arsenal fans still sing about St. Totteringham's Day, the day when Spurs can no longer mathematically finish above them in the league, while Spurs fans never forget Arsenal moving north of the Thames in 1913, sparking the animosity in the first place. 16. East London Derby. The fierce local derby here is against Millwall, known as the East London Derby. The two clubs have one of the most notorious rivalries in English football, rooted in working-class dockyard history. They haven't met often recently due to league differences, but the hostility remains legendary. The London Stadium, with its wide-open stands, may lack the intimacy of Upton Park. 15. M23 Derby. Palace's loyal fan base, especially the Holmesdale end, gives it one of the best atmospheres in England. Their fiercest rivalry isn't local in the traditional sense, but with Brighton and Hove Albion. Known as the M23 Derby, it dates back to the 1970s. It started with clashes between managers Alan Mullery and Terry Venables, and ever since, Palace vs Brighton has carried an extra edge. 14. Tyne, or Derby. St. James Park, in the heart of Newcastle upon Tyne, holds 52,305 fans. The derby with Sunderland, the Tyne, where Derby, is explosive. These two cities are only about 12 miles apart, and the rivalry is fierce, rooted in history, politics, and pride. Sunderland's Stadium of Light and Newcastle's St. James Park create an electric back and forth. But Newcastle's takeover by Saudi Arabia's PEF in 2021 has catapulted the club to new heights. 13. Leeds United vs Manchester United, Roses rivalry. Elland Road, in Leeds, West Yorkshire, holds 37,792 fans. Built in 1897, it's one of the oldest major stadiums in England. Leeds United have played here ever since their founding in 1919. The fiercest rivalry is with Manchester United, known as the Roses rivalry, a nod to the Wars of the Roses between Lancashire and Yorkshire. 12. Aston Villa vs Birmingham City, Second City Derby. Villa Park, in Birmingham, holds 42,640 fans. Built in 1897, it's one of the most historic stadiums in England and has hosted more FA Cup semi-finals than any other stadium. The local rivalry is with Birmingham City in what's called the Second City Derby. It's fierce, volatile, and deeply tied to the identity of Birmingham itself. 11. Leicester City vs Nottingham Forest, East Midlands Derby. The King Power Stadium, in Leicester, holds 32,262 fans. The main rivalry is with Nottingham Forest, known as the East Midlands Derby. These matches bring out fierce passion, with both sets of fans seeing themselves as the region's true footballing kings. Leicester versus Derby County is also heated, but Forest stands out as the big one. 10. Steel City Derby. Hillsborough, home of Sheffield Wednesday. This ground has stood since 1899, making it one of the true old cathedrals of English football. Wednesday fans call it the spiritual home of Yorkshire football. And when it's Derby Day against Sheffield United, the Steel City Derby becomes a cauldron. It's raw, it's fierce, and it's local pride on the line. Hillsborough roars like nowhere else when United cross the city. 9. Celtic Park, Celtic, Old Firm Derby versus Rangers. Over in Glasgow, we find Celtic Park. Fans call it paradise. And if you've ever been on a European night, you'll know why. But nothing tops the Old Firm Derby. Celtic versus Rangers. Catholic versus Protestant. East End versus West End. It's the fiercest rivalry in world football. When Celtic Park hosts it, the sound is deafening and the passion is unmatched. 8. Tynecastle Park, Hearts, Edinburgh Derby versus Hibernian. Head east to Edinburgh, where Tynecastle Park stands as the proud home of Heart of Midlothian. Visiting players always talk about how loud it feels, even with just 20,000 fans. The biggest nights are, of course, the Edinburgh Derby. Hearts versus Hibernian. The noise shakes the walls, and the rivalry splits the city right down the middle. 7. Pittodrie Stadium, Aberdeen. New Firm Derby versus Dundee United. Now up to the Granite City to Aberdeen. Pittodrie Stadium's famous beach end, looking out towards the North Sea, has seen countless goals. And of course, this was where Sir Alex Ferguson built his legend in the 1980s, leading Aberdeen to league titles and even the 1983 Cup Winners' Cup. The New Firm Derby against Dundee United was born in that era. 6. Tannadice Park, Dundee United. Dundee Derby versus Dundee. Speaking of Dundee, let's cross the road. Literally, Tannadice Park, home of Dundee United, is a stone's throw from Dins Park, home of Dundee FC. Nowhere else do two rival clubs sit so close. Just 100 yards apart. Fans can walk from one stadium to the other in under a minute. When the derby kicks off, the whole city is split. 5. Dins Park, Dundee FC. Dundee Derby versus Dundee United. And across the street, we find Dins Park. You can still see his trademark crisscross steelwork on the facade. The Dundee Derby at Dins Park is every bit as fierce as at Tannadice. Some fans even watch from tenement windows overlooking the ground. The atmosphere is tight, noisy, and dripping with history. 4. Cardiff City Stadium, Cardiff City. South Wales Derby versus Swansea. Down to Wales now. Cardiff City Stadium, built in 2009, is a modern ground with a capacity of 33,280. The South Wales Derby against Swansea is fierce. It's the biggest rivalry in Welsh football and one of the most passionate in the UK. When the Swans come to Cardiff City Stadium, the atmosphere turns white hot. 3. Windsor Park, Linfield, Belfast. Big Two Derby versus Glentrin. The Windsor Park South Stand and the Cop create a strong wall of noise on big nights. For Linfield fans, the Big Two Derby against Glentrin is everything. Played since the early 20th century, it's Belfast's most heated clash. Windsor Park shakes with passion when Glens come to town. Linfield dominates the Irish League in terms of titles, but Derby Day is never easy. 2. Portman Road, Ipswich Town. East Anglian Derby versus Norwich City. Back in England, we head to Suffolk. Portman Road, home of Ipswich Town. Portman Road was the fortress where those dreams came alive. The East Anglian Derby against Norwich is fierce. The Old Farm Derby, as some call it, is one of England's most underrated rivalries. The stadium becomes a sea of blue, and the noise levels spike whenever Norwich visits. 1. Molineux, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Black Country Derby versus West Bromwich Albion. Finally, we finish in the Black Country. Molineux Stadium, home of Wolves. Some say those games were the birth of the European Cup. Wolves fans pack it week in, week out, and the place bounces. The Black Country Derby against West Brom is ferocious. These two clubs are only a few miles apart, and the rivalry runs deep. Molineux erupts when Albion visits. And there you have it. From Old Trafford's 74,000-seat Theatre of Dreams to the tight, fierce intensity of Windsor Park, These 20 stadiums tell the story of British football through their rivalries. Each derby isn't just a game. It's a clash of identity, pride, and tradition. Thank you for watching. If you love the content, please make sure that you subscribe, like, share, and comment. See you in the next one.